Hello everyone, my name is Amos Nimos and I am glad to make this video to help you understand how great Linux is. But if you found this video, you probably already know that Linux is the better operating system. But in case you don't know, let me explain to you why and how Linux is far superior and comparable to Windows. So first of all, you have Bash, you have Bash scripting, you have the terminal. You heard all that before, but you don't understand. You're like, yeah, but I don't need that. But you do. Let me show you how and why. When you want to do a task with multiple things, for example, I just recently started a cryptocurrency. Not a cryptocurrency, sorry, an NFT. Different thing, but still on the blockchain if you understand basic cryptocurrency terminology. So the blockchain is the technology that allows cryptocurrency to function, and you can put stuff in it like pictures and art. And so I'm on OpenSea, and this is not a yes, I'm gonna talk little bit about my crypto collection because first of all I want to promote it, but also because I will explain to you how Linux helped me with this, and you'll understand in an instant. But yeah, so you can find my page by, well, there's multiple way, but one of my most famous, if I can call it that, if I can write it correctly while I talk, Dystopia 2034. So those are like my first collection basically, so that's why I use it to find my my page. So you have Disguised Puppy right here. So I'm not sure if you just type Disguised Puppy if you can find my account. Yeah, you cannot, so that's why I don't do that. I just type the name of one of my collection and use it to get through my main account. And recently I've been doing this collection which is called ZCube, and you know, those images are quite high quality, high render, but if I wanted to increase the contrast on the, because an animation, if you didn't know, is a sequence of images, and it can be hundreds of images. So if I wanted to increase the contrast on each of those images before compiling it into a GIF, it would be quite hard. And just compiling it into a GIF, how do I do that without using like a web app? Because I don't want to use web application, especially when you talk about like making an NFT, which is basically ownership of an image. Do you really want to put this image on a web application, on an external server that anybody can use, have access to? You probably don't want that. So you want to do it locally. So I use Linux and I use my terminal to do those things, and I use Bash, basically Bash scripting. And even people who don't code, don't program, using a computer in the old days, like before Windows arrived, was basically just that. It was using a terminal and scripting. That was using a computer. And even if nowadays we have like GUI programs, if you use programs, if you're using any specific program, you don't have a need for scripting while you're using the program. But that's not all that the computer can do. You can use CLI application and you can combine them together using scripting, which makes them more powerful and allows you to apply action to multiple files. In this case, we want to apply an action to multiple image file. So I use this small Linux CLI program called ImageMagick, which comes with the command convert, and you can like type convert your file.png, and then you can say, for example, invert to invert the color if you wanted to, and then you type the output.png. That's basically how ImageMagick works. Of course, you should read the documentation if you're going to use it to know, first of all, there's multiple versions of ImageMagick, how to use your version, because it may have been updated, and also, yeah, basically to know what you can do with it and how you can use it. And there's also a lot of forum that can explain to you how you can embed this program inside of your bash scripting, because a bash script can be saved as a bash file. So if I go into my my bin, I'll change picture because I mean that's what you're basically seeing while I'm talking. So I'm just gonna open my NFT in the background, why not? And yeah, so if I go into my bin, those are scripts that basically I can execute from everywhere in my terminal. So the mgif, if I can find it, I'm just gonna do lf mgif. I forgot to type grep, sorry. So grep is very useful. What it will do is you can feed it like a bunch of text and it will just give you the line of text that contain what you're searching for. So in this case mgif, so I can see that mgif is in this directory somewhere. It's right there. So what it does basically is it allows me to compile multiple PNG images into a GIF image. And to do this, all I need to do is I can just type mgif in the folder where I have all the PNGs, or I could like give it an output, mgif out, so it will call the GIF out.gif. So that's something that I can do on Linux that would be pain in the ass on Windows and would require like a specific software to convert my, like, ImageMagick is not a specific software made to convert image to GIF. It can do a bunch of stuff and it is used inside of other software. So by using it directly, it's like FFmpeg. When you use all that you can, when you learn how that you can do it at FFmpeg, you can record video like I'm doing right now. I'm using OBS, but OBS is using FFmpeg, so I could be using FFmpeg directly, but I'm not. Why? Because I just wanted to make a small video about why Linux is better this morning, and I just didn't care about like using like I could have, because I have a comment for that. I think it's rec or something like that that would record this video using FFmpeg. And again, you get advantage to using FFmpeg because you can then later on use it to combine video, add audio, do special effects and stuff like that. With like automatically on multiple video if you wanted to, and that's the big advantage. I mean, when you're an adult and you live in the adult reality, and you're not just a child playing around, you got responsibility and you got tasks to do. And like just making a CV, it needs to be a PDF sometime, like it needs to. And you could use a program like if you're on Windows, you're gonna use Microsoft Word, but if you're on Linux, you can use OpenOffice or other similar application, GUI application. But you can simply just convert your file. Like you can just type a markdown file and convert it to PDF, or write an HTML and convert it to PDF. And I think that this is the better way to do it, because you can basically convert it in any format that you want, edit it however you want, and you don't have all this pointless GUI bothering you when you just try to focus on, you know, putting the information on the page. Basically, if I use Nano, like that's all I'm seeing. I'm not seeing anything else than just the text that I'm writing. And even then, if the line number annoys me, I can hide it. I think it's Shift Alt and 3, so I don't see them anymore, the line number. So it's more epurated. If you like, it's more minimal. So I'm gonna quit and I'm not gonna save. So yeah, just moving around your file, like boom, I'm in oh, this this directory no longer exists. Okay, so I'm gonna remove it a little bit later. But for example, Data Blaster, if I do pwd, that's a file inside of a file inside of a file inside of a file inside of a file. I mean folder. It's a directory inside of a directory inside of another directory. Just to get to Data Blaster, I would need to move around. Like if I show you how long it would take me, like I need to find file. Okay, now I need to find dev. A, B, C, D, dev. Now I need to find, after dev it was CPP. Now I need to find SFML. Now I need to find, like, you can order your stuff very well in Linux because you don't care how far a folder is. Like, I see some people who have all their shit on their desktop. Look at my desktop. There's no shit in there because I don't need to. I don't need to put shit on my desktop to have access to it quickly. That's cleaner, that's more ordered, because like I understand why Data Blaster is in SFML because it's an SFML project. I understand why SFML is in CPP because it's a CPP project, and I understand why CPP is in Dev because it's a development program like project, and it's in File because those are all files. And this is in my home directory because everything is in the home directory. Yeah, that basically home slash my user directory, if you prefer. Like, that's my home directory, that's the user directory. But yeah, basically in your home directory, all you have is your multiple users, and I only have one user, so basically that's my home slash user directory. And there's a shortcut to type that, by the way. I think it's like slash user. Let's try it. We can, because it's Linux, and Linux is better than Windows. So there you go. That gives me my user. And like, if I wanted my home slash user, can I just do like normally it's the tilde sign. So if I don't put this, there you go. So the tilde sign will give you your home slash user, and it's quicker. You don't have to type the whole thing, because optimization is everywhere in Linux. And if you don't understand optimization, you don't understand why you should use Linux. My whole point, I'm wasting my time explaining to you stuff that you don't care about, but the conclusion of it is that Linux always optimizes everything. And optimization is great. Optimization is amazing, and the fact that Windows isn't prone to good optimization makes it a very poor operating system for serious use other than playing video games. And like the way I see it, like if you type child, toy, computer, plastic, that's kind of what Windows is. Like, for a certain demographic, for a certain target public, this is great. This does what you need it to do. I'm sure this kid is having a lot of fun playing with his quote-unquote window computer. Okay? It's limited in feature. You cannot do like proper work with that shit. But for the target audience, this is the best computer they'll ever have. I mean, it does sound, it has color, it's made out of plastic, and like if you're a kid, this is perfect. Maybe you don't need the big computer that will break in your hand. Like, this is your what you're gonna use and what you're gonna be happy with. Fair enough. And I have nothing against those toys, but that's what Windows is. It's a toy. And if I were to compare it to those toys, it would be the creepy children toy that has a big camera in the middle of it and a microphone that sends data to like the toy company, data about your children, like that creepy shit. Windows is the creepy children toy. It's the toy that you don't want to buy your children. So it's not even good at what it's supposed to be good at, if you ask me, because of their business model. And if you understand that, if you understand like, okay, Windows is evil, it uses very bad practices, and like it's not good, it's not an efficient product at doing its job, it's not optimized, and it does not allow you to be optimized in your workflow. But if you never had an optimized workflow, you have no freaking idea what it looks like. Like, you don't have that. And I will admit, Linux is constant learning. You will always be learning different shit on Linux. You'll never stop. And like, there's things that I use often, those that I don't use enough, other that I should learn to use. And like, for example, what I'm doing right now, just shifting the selection of from one window to the other without using the mouse. Like, that's something very useful, but I don't really use it enough. And one thing I started using recently was to open tabs in my terminal. So I have a tab here, and I could go back to the other tab, type something else, and I have two tabs open, and I can close one tab if I wanted to. This is kind of cool. I don't use it as much as I used to, and there was like, I made a lot of comment that I have in my that shell folder, and I have like my aliases. Like, you don't have that on Windows. That's something I use a lot. You don't have that on Windows. If I want to see my memory, for example, quick like this, I see my memory of my system. And like I have the clock software, which show me the time, and that's all I need to know. And if I wanted, for example, to cut the funcrc, you have multiple functions that I made. Do I use all of these functions all the time? No. Did I make them? Yeah. Was it some, like, did I learn some useful skills making them that can be useful to me later on? Yes. Like, you have the microphone, like, that's important. That's something I don't do enough. Not only do I specify like the name of the application, but most importantly what it does. Because like if I go back here and you see like one of the last shit I added, you have like CPX, NF, no description. I have no idea what those programs do. Basically the NF program, by understanding it, what I can see is that it will replace all the spaces and the file of a directory with underscore, and that's a good thing because when you're in the terminal, a space means like it's a different file. So if your file has a space in it, you won't be able to like edit it using the terminal, or like use it as a reference inside of program and shit like that. So basically you won't be able to use it through the terminal or access it through the terminal. That's what access it was the word I was looking for, because yeah, if you type name space Jeff, it will treat it as if name was a file, Jeff was a separate file, and it will tell you that name space Jeff doesn't exist, even if you have a file called name space Jeff in your directory. But you can use like double quote to fix that. Like if there was a file called name space Jeff that you wanted to access, you could just use double quote to specify like this is one file. You could use double quote for a lot of stuff. I use it a lot. Once you understand how it works, single quote, double quote, those are different. They work differently inside of Linux, and you're not expected to know all this when you're starting to use Linux. It's something that you'll learn slowly by reading a lot of documentation, reading other people comments online, just copying code from online. People make bash code, you can copy it, use it, like, and slowly gain an understanding from it by modifying it. But I don't suggest you do that. Like, don't copy code you don't understand. At least learn the basic understanding so that you know what you're executing and how it works. Those are all functions I made for my bash system, and I have more customization than that. So that's just basic function I made. But there's more than that. I have like my aliases, like I said before. I have my VM configuration, like I said before. I have a lot of scripts that are elsewhere on my system. I have a bash RC that is customized. Like every aspect of my system, like you can see here, like this is how I run application. This is how I edit my setting. I made this. I made all that shit, and I can like control, like I can mount USB shit by this. I can change my theme, gamma, the gap between my window, that's the spacing that you see on the side here where you can see my wallpaper. The border, that's the white outline that you see on the application. The alpha, that's the transparency of my application that will change for also the menu and everything. That's not the menu, that's Rofi. What is Rofi? Well, it's a menu that you can use to display a bunch of stuff. Like I use it to display my application. I can do a search. And yeah, you can use it to just display text, like error warning, whatever. On Windows, you would use like Visual Basic, I think, to display like warning windows and stuff. Yeah, we don't have that on Linux, but we have multiple alternatives, and they're better. They're more customizable and more like you can use them in more various different unique way. And that's another takeaway. Linux is so customizable, and there's so much variety that you can have a custom experience based on your needs. So no matter what you think you need for as a computer, Linux can meet that demand better than Windows, because Windows will never change. It will always be just Windows. It's the general tool that does everything party. It's a jack of all trades but master of none. Linux is the opposite of that. It's master of everything. It's master of what you need it to be. And there's a difference between that. There's a difference between like the guy that does everything and does it poorly, that's Windows, and the guy that can master everything that you need him to. He can do the task that you require of him exactly the way you require it, in a masterful way. And that's the Unix philosophy. Do one thing right. And in recent years, like in some ways, Linux has strayed away from the Unix philosophy. We have a lot of distro that have forgotten the Unix philosophy, and in some cases, it makes sense. Like for example, MPV, great application that can play stuff. It can play music, it can play audio, it can even play like images. I think you can open images with MPV. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try it right now, just to know, like a file no, images, like, and if I do MPV crypt, there you go. I just open an image with MPV. That's great, because MPV, like, it's a media player, and every media it can play, like maybe not like text, but every media that is displayed with image, and not even that, sound, it can play it. Can I open a text file with MPV? Now I'm curious. I mean, yeah, that's the limitation. I mean, except for text document, MPV can pretty much play and display everything, and that's useful. That's very useful. Should it be split in multiple smaller applications that only do one thing? In this specific case, what would be the advantage of splitting MPV? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that would be. It would make for, you would have to memorize more different application. So there's an advantage to keeping MPV that way, but there's disadvantage to split it up, and that's where like your critical thinking comes into play. Like the Unix philosophy is great. Like most of the time it works, it apply. Where you can apply it, you should. But in some cases, like if you don't gain any benefit from it and you lose on some front, then yeah, MPV is fine, even if it does not even if it's not based on the Unix philosophy. But you could say, like, as a media player, it followed the Linux philosophy because it plays media, uneditable media. If the media is something that like isn't by default editable, like a text file or code, you can play it with the media player because it's a media. So in that sense, MPV follows the Unix philosophy. Yeah, and there's no like web browser, I think, that follow the Unix philosophy. Like nowadays, when you want to open a PDF, you can open it with your web browser and shit like that. Like web browser are very bloated, and there's no good minimal alternative. And even like your favorite sites and shit like that could be a separate application. You don't need that. Like every feature basically of a web browser could be something separate. And yeah, I think we should have like two internets. One that is like the old internet. Basically, you limit website to have like text, link, images, colors, like CSS, HTML, no JavaScript or very little. And then you would have like the more risky internet, which is what we have nowadays as the normal internet, where you have like script on website and stuff. I'm talking about something else. It's just a bubble I wanted to talk about, but yeah, we should probably also, if we follow the Unix philosophy to the core, yeah, the internet would be a place to like see HTML file, I think. And then if you want like online application, which basically is what the internet has become. A lot of websites aren't files that you can access online, it's more like application that you can access online, and I think that we should make the distinction and yeah, separate, maybe separate those. Well, sorry for my very poor English. Maybe I should make those videos in French, but I'm not sure I would be that better at it because I'm not used to talking in French either. So yes, that's the end of this video. Linux is better. I hope you understand why right now at this point, at this moment. But seriously, there's so much to talk about in a single video. All I can tell you is like, look at this terminal. That's it. That's the main reason why Linux is better. I won't work on the terminal while doing this video because yeah, I don't wanna concentrate on two things at the same time, like talking to you and at the same time doing some work with the terminal. So some YouTuber maybe do voiceover when they do work in the terminal and stuff like that, but it does require some concentration. But yeah, basically I like aliases. I can go into my file, cd ... and I could do like CLS to clear the screen. Those are aliases. Those aren't the proper command to do those actions, but it still works because I told my computer I want it to work that way. So that's another thing about Linux that I like. You don't like how something works? Just tell it to work another way. You don't like something? Change it. You can't do that with Windows. And you want to compare both? You want to compare, you want to just put them side by side and say which is better. You can't. Linux is so far above the league of Windows just because of that. You don't like something, change it. Where can you do that in Windows? Like, you're even in the setting that you customize, you're limited. And even in the things that they allow you to change, you're limited. You want to change the theme of Windows? Of course you can. But you're limited by those and those factors. And even the thing they implement is poorly implemented. I'm gonna be honest. Like the high contrast setting, suck. It's bad. Maybe they upgraded it in the Windows 11. Windows 11 stole a lot of good idea from Linux. Like every version of Windows post Linux, they steal idea from Linux, but their version is always worse. So yeah, be different. Think for yourself. Here's a little Neo fetch for you. Linux is pretty. You can deny that. Like at the core of it, like that's. I'm not sure if I showed you like that. That's my document manager. I don't use it much. I use the terminal instead. But yeah, that's what it looks like. I have multiple like workspace that I can put application on and switch from one workspace to another. And I mean, you can do that on Windows, but again, it's not driven by keyboard shortcuts, which make Linux more efficient. Like I say, every good idea that you can find on Windows was probably stolen from Linux and is probably implemented in a worse way than the original implementation on Linux. Yeah, that's it. Linux is just better on all front. So yeah, you can find my my NFT page. Whoa, that's a long link. That's not what I wanted to copy. I wanted to like ztoken. No, I want to go to my front OpenSea page. I haven't sold. I'm gonna be totally transparent with you. I haven't sold a single NFT yet, but I started like 2 days ago, so that's probably normal. OpenSea /disguise with a G, puppy. I'm not sure if that's how disguised is spelled, but I think so. Having changed one appearance in order. Yeah, that's it. And puppy written like that. Yeah, I have like those are like the NFT I made so far. Like, I'm sure as soon as I will have one sold, it will bring traction that will give value to like the other one, because basically right now I'm selling them in a void. nobody are aware of those NFT, and yeah, I'm not sure. Like maybe I did all this for nothing, but it's never for nothing. I gained the experience of making like those 3D models, those textures. I think they're nice, and even if they don't gain value, which I'm not saying they won't, like they might just as well, like they're nice NFT. When you go on OpenSea, there's a lot of NFT that are worth way much, and like that's ugly as fuck. Like those are fucking ugly. Like I'm not sure if that's the point, but it's inspired by everything I hate about the modern rapper style. Those are all people you just want to punch in the face. Like, disgusting. Like, the style is just awful. Those those render are like somebody wasted their time making. Like, that's the summum of ugliness. I don't know. 5 Ethereum? It's $8,000 that he's trying to get for this ugly shit. Look at how ugly it is. Is it a competition of how ugly you can make something? Is that how NFT work? Is this a competition of how ugly shit can be? Like, don't get me wrong, the render is high quality, but this face and all, who would want to like have that? If you could own an image, why would you want to own that? Like when I'm making NFT, I make shit that I would like to own. Like but yeah, like there's some nice ones sometimes that you can find. Like this is nice. Like when we speak about good quality NFT, like that's what I'm talking about. Like there's an effort put into those. You can see it, and like those are high quality, good looking NFTs. And they have a distinct style, and again, if I were to like, they have a reasonable price. Like those are understandable NFTs. Like that can be understood. But you know what? I still think they're made with AI. With closer inspection, like I'm not sure what process this person used, but at first I thought these weren't made with AI. But by looking at them closer inspection, I think they're made with AI, which is mind-boggling because yeah, that's some AI detailed work. I can recognize that. Like that's a way that AI create like fake detail. It use the same recurring patterns, if you want. Those are AI made, but it's still impressive. I am still impressed because those have a consistent style. I think those are mostly made with AI. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, this one doesn't look made with AI. Maybe some of them are. Maybe he start by generating something with AI and modifies it. I don't know. I don't know what like text he would feed the AI to get those results. But still, you see, that's why I'm saying, that's my point when I say it's not because something is made with AI that it's bad. It's not because that it has no value. This to me did not lose value even if it was made with AI. Like that's a face made with AI. It's very interesting the result that it could get. I'm very impressed, but like I say, this is AI generated. That's for sure AI generated, but that's good AI generation. I think he used like, I'm not sure. Very interesting. So sorry if the video like I started talking about like why Linux is better, and now I'm talking about like analyzing NFTs. Yeah, that's a passion of mine recently. To just, it's an interest, not really a passion. I think I'll get over it soon, but I mean, I put some effort into that shit. You can't see that one. I think it's hidden. Um, it's the favorite of someone. Oh, and I hid it. And I hid it. I'm dumb. I shouldn't have hid it. Yeah, I shouldn't have hidden the that art if like somebody's interested in it. I'll go back and unhid this one. So how do I unhide? I'm not sure if it's hidden, to be honest. I'm not even sure. If I go into, like, how do I show which one are hidden? I'm not used to OpenSea. I don't think those are hidden because I'm not connected right now and I can't see them. So I don't think it is. But if I go on my profile, I think they are. Like if I go on this guy puppy, there you go. That's my account. Finally, I found it by the search bar. And if I go like, yeah, I can't see it on my front page, but it's there nonetheless in the collection. Okay, so that's what happens when you hide something on OpenSea. It's still visible in the collection that it's in, but it's hidden from your homepage, which is okay, I guess. Yeah, I'm surprised they don't like promote those first because I think those are my favorites so far. This one in particular, I think is one of my favorite I made so far. Yeah. I'll end this video right here. It has one favorite. I think it's myself. Yeah. Yeah, I have the right to like my own art. I don't put likes to every art I make, but when I make something I'm proud of, I'm very proud of, I'll put a like on my own art. I don't care. Yeah. This one is nice also. Like, it really does look like what it's supposed to look like. Obsidian. That's what Obsidian looked like. It didn't get any likes for 3 views. But you know, that's what it's supposed to look like. So, I'm not sure what you expected, but the token of Obsidian looked like a token of Obsidian. The texture is nice. So, yep. Nothing to add about that. Yeah, so basically I could go on r/Unix and show you like other people configs on Linux, but that's not the point. What your system looks like, we don't care. Basically, that's why I always open my terminal when I try to show you why Linux is better, because at the end of the day, like, that looks nice, but that's not why you use Linux. You use Linux because it's more efficient. You use Linux because you can do stuff with it that you cannot do on Windows. And maybe you use Windows because there's stuff on Linux that you cannot do on Linux, like playing. There's this game called Teardown on Linux on Steam that you cannot play. There's Noitia, which is another game that you cannot play. And each time I see you cannot play a game on Linux, just know that you can play it. You just need to be good enough. Most of the games that aren't compatible with Linux, there's a way to make it work with Linux. But yeah, I don't know every single way to have every single game working, and sometimes it's not worth the effort sometimes. But there's so many games out there that if there's a game I cannot play on Linux that works on Windows, I'll just play something else. I have enough game to be happy with what I have on Linux without needing to have Windows. It's not worth the trouble. It's not worth the pain of using Windows. It's not worth the update. Okay, to me it's not. Maybe to you it is, and I respect your choice. But still know that Linux is better. I can tell you that it's fine to use Windows for as long as you understand why you're using it instead of Linux. But you should at least understand why it's worse and why, yeah, it's not ideal for most tasks. Like that's a very nice config that this person has. It's called rising when you modify like the appearance of your desktop. I like to see Linux on a phone. I think everybody does. Even you, if you don't like Linux, still that's nice. You have to agree. This is nice. I love this config. I like transparency. I like the blur of transparency. I don't like round borders. I like the color of this one. I like the file icon, and the font isn't bad. but I don't like when there's a bar on top with a bunch of information. I like when it's pure and empty like this. But yeah, basically this guy prefer how this looks to what I like, and he can make it look like he wants, and that's an advantage of Linux. Yeah, just take a look, scroll around, and you'll quickly understand that most of this shit you can't have on Windows. Yeah, this guy is crazy just for using like Gen 2. Gen 2 is a very advanced version of Linux. And when I say advanced, like if you learn how to use it, if you set it up correctly, it is better than most other version. It's the same for most advanced version of Linux. Like they're not worse, they're better, but you need to put the effort and time to have it configured. And there's a line that as a Linux user you need to decide how much effort am I willing to put for how much result. And I'm willing to put a lot of effort to get like a nice config, to have a computer that looks nice and works nicely. But I'm not willing like to use Arch Linux. Like I did in the past, but there's a lot of things that I did not like about Arch. Like this is Ubuntu. You can't customize Ubuntu. It's possible. People do. And yeah, I like Ubuntu. It works fine for me. And I agree that the fact that they are collecting some information is something that I mean it's optional. I don't even think I agreed to that. But the fact that they did in the past and stuff like that makes it lesser than those other version. Like I like this one. Look at this. It's so minimal. It's so minimal. I like that you can like this is a useless application. This is a useless application. This is a useless application. This is Neofetch. It has some use. So that's why people use it all the time to show their config. But basically, that's my point. Like this is all pointless show off things, show off application that you won't actually use in a day-to-day basis. What I'm trying to show you is like in a day-to-day basis, Linux is of use. Linux is superior to Windows in a day-to-day basis. Like it doesn't need to look like this to be useful. You don't need to use Gen 2 to have a good Linux experience. And anything that you're trying to do other than like you can't play video game. Another misconception I often say, like, yeah, well, the only reason why you would use Windows is for video game, but you can still play video game on Linux. I still have like Steam and I can play. I just recently bought a game called Zomboid and it works perfectly flawlessly. I have another game called it's a golf game, but I forgot the name. It's like an arcade golf game. But yeah, I forgot the name, but it works flawlessly on Linux. And recently I figured out a way from my terminal to have Guild War. The original Guild War works like I launch it from the terminal, but it's on Steam. It's a game I bought on Steam from long ago. I recovered my old account and I can launch it through the terminal. Not from Steam because from Steam it doesn't work. But I have the game on Steam. I just don't use the Steam launcher to launch the game, otherwise it doesn't work. Why does it work with the terminal? Because I use Wine. And I go directly to the Steam file and launch it with a specific Wine argument. So it's complex. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of this complexity. I'm proud to have figured out how to make my game works that isn't supposed to work. You know, when you get to do something like that on Linux, there is a satisfaction that you'll never get on Windows. When you find a unique way of solving a problem with a script or by combining programs in script. Yeah, it's a great feeling that you'll never get on Windows, because on Windows you'll have Microsoft do everything for you and it's either gonna work or it isn't. But that's not like that's not like this on Linux. It's not a binary result. It's a gray area where maybe it doesn't work. Maybe you can fix it yourself. Maybe there's a way you can make it work. Maybe there's an alternative. Maybe. There's so many maybe. And with great power comes great responsibility. You can, if you are really dumb with Linux, break your own computer. Like there was a demonstration of that by Linus Tech Tips, which is a channel that talks mostly about Windows. The name is just unrelated. And yeah, basically Linus was new to Linux. He didn't know what he was doing. The terminal told him, "Are you sure you know what you're doing? Please type 'I know what I'm doing' to confirm this action." Which at this point, if you read a message like that, maybe you should be wondering, am I really sure about what I'm doing? Because that's a warning. That's telling me I'm probably trying to do something I'm not supposed to. So unless I really know what I'm doing, maybe I shouldn't type "I know what I am doing," enter. That broke his computer. And I think that was voluntary to discredit Linux. And if it wasn't, maybe it was like, I mean, I'm not complaining about the video, but I'm just saying that's a good example of how great power comes with great responsibility. And how, if you're not like a tiny bit prudent, you can arm your system by using Linux. But you can also arm a Windows system by being fucking ignorant too. I just look at the task manager on most Windows system, and the CPU is throttling for no reason. You do nothing and the CPU is throttling. So that's a nice config. Like, I like the fact that he put an image in its in his NeoFetch. Not on every distribution that you can do this, but yeah, it's very nice. I like that. That's very customized. I like the blur on this application and all that. I don't like the theme basically, but I appreciate like the effort that this person put in writing their system. And they also use the Kitty terminal, so we use the same kind of terminal, which is nice. Yeah, I said for a while that I would end this video, so I'm gonna do that. But basically, try Linux. Don't tell me which you think is better. Don't tell me like that you like Windows. Don't even tell me that you like Windows if you didn't try Linux, because you being a Windows user is like being in a toxic relationship. You don't realize how bad it is until you get out of it. Yeah, that's another good conclusion for this video. So look at those nice config. You don't see shit like that on Windows. Oh no, you don't. Oh, look at this. It looks so cool.